Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic hypersonic.
Positronic hypersonic.
Positronic hypersonic.
I'm Barry P. Cook, and I'm here to talk to you about the season 2 premiere of The Last of Us on Max. Not everybody thought this episode was even good. In fact, Cosmicbook News published a review giving it a 1 and calling it garbage. Now, this isn't unusual for Cosmicbook News, which is headed by Matt McGloin, because he's always dumping on stuff to the extreme. Something that's not very good, he automatically calls it garbage, like gives it the lowest possible rating. It's not good enough to say, not only wasn't this a 10, but it wasn't even a 6, it's a 1. He's very hyperbolic and he just likes to trash things, over the top. And, he's one of those anti-woke people, which, I have no tolerance for. And among his complaints about this episode was, well, he had several complaints, but they all came under the umbrella of, to him, the show is woke and the producers are trying to push an agenda. And his examples of that are, they had a 90-pound woman defeating a much bigger man. And I talked about that. Yeah, okay, it's a little far-fetched, but they kind of explained it. So it's not an agenda. It's just something they wrote that doesn't completely make sense. But they're not doing it on purpose to push any kind of an agenda about women being as strong as men or stronger than men. That's in his imagination. He didn't like the fact that the person who yelled at Ellie and Dina for sharing a gay kiss in the middle of a family party was an old white man, because people like Matt McGloin can't be happy unless all the assholes in a show or a movie or a book are either a person of color or a woman or gay. If the bad guy or the asshole in any situation is anything other than that, they can't be happy. So for them to be happy, the asshole has to always be not straight, not white, and not a guy. Otherwise, they complain about it. Another thing he didn't like was that Joel gets emotional during his therapy session and sheds a tear. Because apparently men aren't supposed to have emotions or ever be upset or ever cry. Or for that matter, go to therapy. And the other thing he didn't like was that when Abby in the beginning says she wants to go after Joel, a member of the group says, I don't know, I don't think we should do that. I don't think it's a good idea to start going after people. It puts us at risk. And that person was a white male, whereas the person who had all the aggro in the situation was a woman. And so in his mind, that's showing the woman to be tough and showing the men to be weak. And of course, it's a white guy. And so he not only has a problem with that, but it's something he feels they're doing on purpose, that it's not organic, that it's not just the way they happen to write it, that it's deliberate because they're trying to push an agenda. And, some of these same complaints were made about The Last of Us Part 2, but I think it's all nonsense. It's all nonsense. It's just a story, dude. Not every white dude wants to poke the bear, and depicting that doesn't make a show woke or agenda driven. And some women are very aggressive. So depicting that does not make the show woke or agenda driven. So, it's just stupid that he complains about these things. And not only that, it's stupid that he then allows those things to reduce his rating of the piece of media, in this case, this episode, down to the lowest possible number except 0 or a negative number based solely on that. So he doesn't consider that the performances were good, that the atmosphere, was well created, that the character moments were well done. All of that goes out the window, and the episode gets a 1 and gets called garbage because it had some dynamics in it that he didn't like, that he thinks are wrong-think or wrong-headed. And it's just, it's pretty sad. Mr. McGloin! It's pretty sad. It really is. So I don't know if he sees this or gets wind of it, he probably won't even respond, because these people that think this way are all cowards and have no backbone. They go on the internet, they say these horrible things, and then they barely respond to anyone who calls them out because they're chicken shit. And, they got a big mouth, but they won't defend their position. I have a big mouth too, but I'll defend my position all day long. Anyway, I like the show. I like the episode. I thought it was better than a 1. I think it was probably a 6 or a 7, and I'm looking forward to watching the rest of the season. For now, I'm going to get out of here. I'll be back with another video soon. Until I return, I wish you peace and long life.